Morning. Mason here, formed the Copper Creek Ranch. Look at me. I want to ask you a question that I know haunts you when the lights go out. At what specific date on the calendar did you decide that you were a failure? At what age exactly did you convince yourself that you are broken, defective, or left behind because you haven't conquered the world yet? I get emails every single day. I see the comments, mostly from young men, anywhere from 18 to 34, maybe 38. And the tone is always the same. It's panic. It's a quiet, desperate lament that they are standing in the middle of their lives, looking at their hands and seeing nothing but emptiness. They wonder, what is wrong with me? Why does everyone else have the code except me? Why haven't I figured it all out? Listen to me closely. Of course you don't have it all together. You are not supposed to have it all together. You are not expected to have it all together yet. And the fact that you think you should, well, that's the poison right there. If anybody looks at you at 25, 26, or even 29 years old and says, "Hey man, what's wrong with you? How come you aren't the CEO? How come you don't have the paid-off house and the perfect family?" I'm telling you right now, that person is a fool. They are selling you a fantasy that doesn't exist. Real knowledge, genuine experience, and actual wisdom, that stuff takes time. It is a slow-cooked meal, not a drive-through burger. Wisdom is the scar tissue that forms over experience, and experience is just a fancy word for making mistakes and surviving them. And surviving takes time. The more experience you stack up, the more you learn from the pain of that experience, the wiser you get. If you haven't been breathing air on this earth long enough to have a broad, thick, heavy portfolio of screw-ups, then you cannot expect to have the dividends of wisdom in your bank account yet. We are lied to. We are told by society today, and it is inferred heavily by every movie, every streaming series, every 30-second clip on your phone, that by the time you are 25 or 28, you should be done. You should be graduated. You should have the master's degree. You should have the six-figure job. You should have the beautiful wife, the golden retriever, and you should have it all locked down. Think about the movies we watch. We sit down for a film, right? It's an hour and 45 minutes long, and in that short span of time, we watch a character go from a goofy, awkward, messy teenager who can't tie his own shoes to a man who is settled, dangerous, competent, and has it all going on. In 90 minutes, they get the job. They put their childhood bully in his place with a witty one-liner. They save the town. They get the girl. Fade to black. The credits roll, and we are left sitting on our couch, imagining the rest of their life. And what we imagine is static. We imagine that because the movie ended on a high note, they stayed there forever. Man, they got it together. Of course, we don't consider the reality. We don't think about the fact that if you turn off the movie and turn on the news, you'll see those same actors, the real people, showing up in the headlines again and again, making stupid mistakes, getting divorced, getting arrested, falling apart. Why? Because they ain't got it together either. Nobody lives in the fade to black. We live in the footage that usually gets cut from the film. Let's look at the woods for a second. Look at the trees. A pine tree? A pine grows fast. It shoots up. It reaches for the sun, and it gets tall in a hurry. You can plant a stand of pine and harvest it relatively quickly. But an oak tree? An oak grows slow, painfully slow. It fights for every inch. It struggles against the wind. It pushes its roots down through the hard rock. But ask yourself, which one lasts longer? Which one is stronger? Which one, when the storm comes with 100-mile-an-hour winds, is still standing there protecting the land? Which one shelters more critters, more squirrels, more birds? And when it's all done and over, and the tree is finally cut down, which one is more valuable? People don't go out and say, "Oh boy, I can't wait to spend extra money on some cheap, soft pine furniture that will dent if I look at it wrong." No, They want oak. They want the wood that took 80 years to mature. They want the wood that has a story in its grain. You are building an oak, son. Stop trying to grow like a weed just to look tall. There is a lot of sentiment expressed on this channel, and I read it, and it touches me. I see comments saying, "Boy, Mason, I sure wish you had been my dad," or "I wish I had a father figure like you." Let me stop you right there. No, you don't. I know you mean it as a compliment, and I'm flattered. I truly am. But I know better. I don't take it seriously because I know the truth. Nobody bursts from their mother's womb ready for the world. Nobody comes out of the delivery room aged, mature, and wise, holding a pipe and giving out life advice. I'm not wise. I'm not saying I'm wise. I'm just saying, that happened to me. It hurt. That's why that happened. So maybe we ought not to do that. To me, being called wise is often just a shallow definition for someone who has survived a lot of stupidity. I am 57 years old. 57. And I am just now, starting to get a little bit of it figured out. Just the edges of the puzzle. There's a song by a guy named Towns. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't. If you like that old, sad country music, look him up. He's got a song about an old gambler and a drifter, and there's a line in there that always hits me in the gut. The character is looking back on his life, on all the wasted years, and he says, "I never learned how to aim when the spirit was tame, and I couldn't see all the cards in my hand." Think about that. I couldn't see all the cards in my hand. Well, son, a lot of what your difficulty is right now is exactly that. You have not yet learned how to aim because your spirit is still wild. It's still bucking like a colt. And you can't see all the cards in your hand. It's not saying the cards aren't there. You have the aces. You have the kings. They are right there in your palm. It's just that you haven't matured enough. You haven't grown tall enough to look down and see them clearly. The lighting is bad and your eyes aren't adjusted yet, but there will come a time. If you keep going, if you keep learning, if you keep taking the hits and getting back up, that one day you'll look down at that hand and you'll realize the card you needed was there all along. It's been there for 10 years. You just weren't ready to play it yet, but that realization ain't gonna come for a while. And my encouragement to you is, stop being so hard on yourself for being blind. You're just young. You know, one of the things I have encouraged my wife, Sarah, in for years, and she's a very natural mother, okay? She has a God-given tendency to take care of people, to nurture, and to worry about stuff. She carries the weight of the world. And I've had to tell her over the years, look, honey, that is not your burden to carry. Put it down. You have enough burdens at your young age that are rightfully yours. You have the burden of paying rent, of finding a mate, of figuring out your career. Those are yours. You do not need to worry about carrying the burdens that are going to come when you are 52 or 58 or 63. You can't even begin to think about having things figured out and having it together until you're in your 50s. Just don't even worry about it. It's like trying to solve a calculus problem when you're still learning arithmetic. You've got to have maturity. And maturity comes with time. Maturity is not something that you can gin up artificially. It's not a powder you mix in your protein shake. You cannot force yourself to be ripe when you are still green. You just have to live. That's the secret work. You just have to live. You have to act your age. If you are 24, be 24. Stop trying to be 54. It is not expected of you, and it is a heavy, crushing burden that you do not have to carry. I see young couples, maybe they've been married 2 years, and they are going through some things. Money is tight, communication is hard, and they look at me with tears in their eyes and say, "Man, we must be the worst couple in the world. We must be the worst married folks out there. This has got to be wrong. Of course you don't have it figured out. When you hit 31 years of marriage, guess what? You still ain't gonna have it all figured out. My wife and I are still trying to figure stuff out. We still have days where we look at each other and say, well, that didn't work. We just take it as it comes. We learn. We mature. We grow. It takes time, but, and here's the warning, you will not get there if you quit. Fellas, you will not get there if you fold your hand. If you just say, forget it, I'm too broken. I can't be the man that I wanted to be. Well, of course you're not right now. You will not be the man that you want to be until you grow into him. You have to grow into the suit. It's too big for you right now. So the whole point of this video, the reason I turned the camera on this morning, is just to encourage you to chill out. Just chill. You guys that are contacting me and saying, man, I got a degree and I just lost this job and I feel like dying. Listen, I'm not making light of it. I know it hurts. I know the bills are real. But let me just put it in perspective for you. I've got 6 grandbabies now. I love watching them grow. One of those grandbabies, let's say he is 15 months old, just a little tacker, and he's learning to walk, okay? So he's kind of cruising. He's just in a diaper. You've seen it. You know the look. He's going across the kitchen floor to mama. He's focused. He's determined. But he's weaving a little bit. His little fat feet are slapping the floor. Thump, thump, thump. And his little fat thighs are wobbling. He's got that bubble butt sticking out, and that tubby little tummy, and the big old diaper in the back. He is aerodynamic disaster. He is not balanced. And all of a sudden, he takes a step, and he's like, oh, and gravity takes over. Bam. He falls down, lands flat on his butt. And for a second, silence. He looks shocked. He looks surprised. He looks betrayed by physics. And then his face screws up, turns red, and he starts crying bloody murder. Tears streaming, screaming at the top of his lungs. Why? Because in his mind, that is the worst thing that has ever happened to him in his entire life. It is a disaster of apocalyptic proportions. Why? Because it's all he's ever known. He has no history. He has no context. And you? You've just gone through a breakup, or you got fired, or you wrecked your truck, and it feels like the worst thing you've ever been through. It feels like a disaster of apocalyptic proportions. Why? Because you haven't had the time and the experience yet to develop worse. You haven't lived long enough to turn around and look at that event in relation to the realities of a long life well lived. One day, mark my words, you are going to try and look back at this moment. You're going to sit on your porch at 60, and you're going to say, that really wasn't such a disaster. In fact, thank God that happened. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to change direction. Some of you lost your job. You thought that job was the one. It was a good paying job. You went 5 years of college in order to get the degree to get that job. Then you got the job. And then the shutdowns happened, or layoffs, or the company folded. And now all of a sudden you lost that job. It's the worst thing you've ever been through. And so all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I thought my life was together. Now it's in shambles at my feet. No, it's not. No, it isn't. It's all right. You're not supposed to have it together. Listen, those people who go to college, get out of college, get a job at 22, stay in that exact same job until they retire at 65, and then buy a condo down in Arizona, that is an anomaly. That is not normal human existence. It happens, sure, but it's rare. And honestly, most of those people, they might be really nice folks, really good people, but they ain't got cool stories to tell. They don't have the depth. You don't get wisdom past a certain point by living a life that never required you to struggle. You don't get strong muscles by walking on flat ground your whole life. About 4 years ago, I made a whole series of really, really bad decisions. I'm talking foolish. I'm talking mistakes that cost me. And it brought me to the point, at over 50 years old, over 50, where I looked in the mirror and I was like, I ain't got it together. I'm not mature. I'm not growing. I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. I felt like a fraud, but I started working on it. I swallowed my pride and I went to work. And the man that I am today, the father that I would be today if children were to come along today, that's not the man I was before. And that's not the father I could have been before. The failure was the fuel. Think about a blade, a knife. A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire. And not just once. It has to go through the fire several times. And then it gets put on the anvil. And then the hammer comes down. Clang, clang. And this, right now, this is just your first or second time to the fire. You are barely warm yet. There is a lot of hammer work that has to take place. And then you're going to have to go back in the forge again. And it's hot. And it melts you down. And you're uncomfortable. And you scream, "Let me out." And then life is going to pull you out. And it's going to put you on the anvil. And it's going to hammer on you some more. And you're going to say, am I done yet? Am I a sword for the ages? Am I sharp? Oh no. No, you're not. You're not done yet. You're just a lump of iron starting to take shape. So just chill. Just chill. Continue to have fun. Now by fun, I'm not recommending you go out and drink your brains out at the bar and do something stupid that ruins your health. But my goodness. Go hunting. Go fishing. Get a mountain bike and ride until your legs burn. Go hiking. Go to the gym. Go hang out around a barbecue fire with friends and just act silly. Act goofy. Be your age. Be young. Embrace the process. Don't look for what you're supposed to be. Fully, completely polished, sharpened, edged, tempered at 25 or 35 or even 45. You've got a lot more forge time left. You've got a lot more hammer blows left. And it takes time. But if you will patiently embrace the process, then by the time you get up in years, you can be a man that you're proud of. A man of oak, not pine. So this is just an encouragement to just chill out. Embrace the journey. You say, Mason, what process? Life. Life itself. Embrace the journey and the process of life. You only get stronger hiking by going uphill. Nobody gets stronger hiking by just coasting downhill. The struggle is the point. All right, I'm going to get in trouble here if I don't do this. Mason picks up his pipe, taps it gently. I'm smoking some GLPs today. It's a blend called Triple Play. This is my first tin of this, and it's actually got some perique in it, which is a very bold tobacco. It's a pretty heavyweight tobacco mixed with some sweet Virginia and a little bit of dark-fired Kentucky, which I'm very fond of. It's a very robust, very interesting, very flavorful mixture. It kicks like a mule if you aren't careful. If you are what's the word I want? An aromatic smoker, if you like the stuff that smells like vanilla and cherries, this is probably not going to be for you. It's too honest for that. But that's what we got going on here. So, again, guys and gals, just hang in there. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner. Don't let the calendar defeat you. You're right on time. We'll catch you guys further on up the trail.